Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spurs Up Show, the best Gamecocks podcast on the internet. Today is Thursday, December the 31st, 2020. On today's show, the transfer portal hits USC once again as Gamecocks quarterback Ryan Hilinski officially announces he is entering the transfer portal. Guys, I'll give my full thoughts. A quick thank you to the Hilinski family as we break down again the once Gamecocks starting quarterback entering the transfer portal. Also, on the last day of 2020, we look back at the 2020 year specifically for the Spurs Up Show. I'll give my top 10 moments for the Spurs Up Show in 2020. A lot of great moments to relive and a great year for the business overall as a whole, guys. I will look back at 2020 and relive some of those moments with you guys. We got a packed show, a lot of great stuff to get into. We've also got a fantastic conversation. Former Gamecocks random pitcher Will Crowe joins the show, talks about his path to South Carolina. Chad Holbrook, Mark Kingston playing for the Gamecocks as a whole, also being drafted, making his major league debut for the Washington Nationals, and of course, being traded recently to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ton to get into here on a Thursday, guys. It's all brought to you by our friends over at Upstate Movers Group. Guys, Upstate Movers Group, superior moving service. They bring care and attention other companies can't offer because they're just too busy maintaining trucks and profiting off of them instead of focusing on service. Guys, service is what separates Upstate Movers Group from the competition. By the way, they're not a trucking company. They are a moving services company, and they're also employee-owned co-op, guys. Their movers are paid twice the industry average, and everyone on the crew is just as invested in the success of the project as you are. They have dedicated professional crew members, and they also offer black glove service, guys. They offer end-to-end packing services, custom crating and packaging for special items, and cleaning services as well. They're founded by Greenville natives and University of South Carolina alumni, so a Gamecock-owned small business. They also offer 20 years of project management moving experience, and they can offer logistics and solutions, guys, that traditional moving companies simply do not have the skills for. Guys, whether you're in the upstate or across the state of South Carolina, if you have any moving needs, be sure to contact my friends over at Upstate Movers Group. You can find them on social media at Upstate Movers Group, and of course, their website for any questions you may have, they're at upstatemoversgroup.com. That is upstatemoversgroup.com. The show is also brought to you by our friends over at MyBookie, guys. With 2021 literally right around the corner, MyBookie's been in a giving mood, a $250 risk-free bet on Thanksgiving, boosted odds and free bets every hour of Black Friday, and they continue to give away more freebies for Cyber Monday. Guys, for a sports book that's supposed to be in the business of making money, they were giving it away. That's just one of the reasons why I've been rolling with MyBookie this season. The fact is this, guys. If you're going to put some action on the games, whether you're betting NFL, NCAA, college football, college hoops, whatever your preference, you want to do it with a reputable brand like MyBookie, guys. You can make your deposit using the promo code Gamecocks. That's promo code Gamecocks, and they'll match you halfway to give you a head start on building your bankroll. Guys, put in $200, get an extra $100 to play with. Joining and depositing is a simple process, and it's quick. But more importantly, when it's time to get paid, that's quick too. Treat yourself some extra cash in your pocket this holiday season by investing in your intuition, guys. It's not just winter season, it's winning season. So bet, win, and get paid with MyBookie. Let's get it.
Did you know you could shop around for prescription prices? With GoodRx, you can find free coupons at over 70,000 pharmacies and save up to 80%. It's that easy. But don't just take my word for it. Dr. Adam says, I've been telling all my patients about GoodRx. Jacqueline says, my medication was $65 without insurance, but I paid $25. Aubriana says, you don't have to pay full price to live your best life. Couldn't have said it better myself. GoodRx is 100% free. Download the GoodRx app today and start saving. GoodRx is not insurance.
All right, guys, what is going on? I'm Chris Phillips here with the Spurs Up Show, as always. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We got a lot to get into here on Thursday, December the 31st, guys. 2020 has finally, mercifully come to an end. Happy New Year's Eve to you all. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a fantastic day again here on the last day of 2020. It's crazy. 2020 flew by, but also was the slowest year ever. And I feel like a lot of you guys can probably relate to that. It's crazy. This 2020 year, I mean, one that we literally lived through history this year. Like when you really think about it, we lived through a very historic time in 2020. But the last day of the year again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Happy New Year's Eve to you all. Hope you have big New Year's Eve plans, whatever they may be, whether you're going to like a house party or maybe you're just having a low-key night and you're going into 2021 well-rested and energized and ready to go. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're fancy, whatever it is, hope you guys are all doing well. And thank you so much for tuning in here on the last day of 2020. Again, it feels so crazy to say that because like I just said, man, it's like it flew by in a sense, but so much happened in this 2020 year. Positives, a lot of negatives, obviously, a lot of turmoil, a lot of uncertainty. And I don't want to get off on a rant here about personal stuff and like talking about life and all that, but excited obviously for what 2021 is going to bring. I know for a lot of us, a lot of people went through struggle, a lot of people went through heartache, a lot of people got sick. I know a lot of people are ready to put 2020 behind us, but again, keep a little perspective. I think things could have been much worse when you think of how blessed we are. And what was the worst part of the quarantine? We had to sit inside on our phones what much longer than we wanted to. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, I'm really excited to get into this. And again, whatever your plans are for New Year's Eve, hope you have a really, really good time. Obviously, be safe, be responsible. I want to see you all in 2021. It's kind of interesting, right? I don't think the bars are really, our New Year's Eve parties really a thing this year because you can't drink past 11. So what's the point? What's the purpose? You can't champagne toast at midnight. So, I know some people throwing some house parties, and I haven't really made a decision yet whether I'm going to partake in said house party. Maybe just have, like I said, a low-key night, man. Just kind of get a good night's rest and start off 2021 on a high note. But again, we've got a lot to get into here today on December the 31st, 2020. And I want to start specifically because, again, you guys remember last year, we did this same type of show last year. We looked back on the 2020 year, or we looked back on the previous year, and we talked about the top moments specifically for the Spurs Up show and for me personally and for the business in the calendar year. Because, again, yesterday we obviously talked specifically for the Gamecocks, the top moments for the Gamecocks in the calendar year. But I want to talk specifically today the top moments for the Spurs Up show as a whole. But before we do that, big news dropping on Wednesday afternoon as South Carolina quarterback Ryan Hilinski has officially announced he is hitting the transfer portal. And again, of course, that's where we got to start. Just diving right into it, guys. I'm not surprised. This has been something for a while. Again, I know a lot of you have been asking me, and I've been saying for a while, I fully expected Ryan Hilinski to hit the transfer portal. And I think when the decision came down that Mike Bobo was going to be coming back as Gamecocks offensive coordinator, it was pretty much inevitable at that point. I thought maybe Ryan might stick around and battle it out through spring and just kind of see where he stands on the depth chart and what have you and kind of make a decision from there. But I'm not surprised at all. Ryan Hilinski, and the first thing is this. I want to say this first before we dive into like the on-the-field stuff and the Mike Bobo stuff, because there's a lot to get into on that side of it too. But I want to say a sincere thank you to Ryan Hilinski, the Hilinski family as a whole, for allowing me to not only watch him on the field and be a fan and cheer for him on Saturdays, but for the Hilinski family giving me the opportunity to make an impact much bigger, off the field. Obviously, we had the opportunity here at the Spurs Up Show to partner up with Hilinski's Hope. It started way back in probably mid-2018. Ryan Hilinski had committed to South Carolina, and he hadn't signed yet, but he had committed to South Carolina, and I was able to chat with him over social media about doing some type of partnership and chat with his family as well. And there came the Forever to 3 shirts. Obviously, I remember working on those, again, way back when. That feels like forever now. But I remember working on those, and I don't know if you guys noticed this or realized this. Ryan Hilinski actually signed his letter of intent wearing a Forever to 3, the Spurs Up Show shirt. And obviously, we were able to give a ton of money to the charity, to Hilinski's Hope as well, through that opportunity. And so I say thank you again to the Hilinski family, because not just that, we did the Forever to 3 shirts. Then you guys remember specifically the partnership we have with Palmetto Moon, with getting those in that Palmetto Moon location. We did the Forever to 3 shirts. Again, we did the US 3 shirts. Obviously, that was a big thing for the business as well, being able to help the charity, but also, again, the brand awareness, to get the Spurs Up Show merchandise being sold at wholesale, being sold in an actual physical location in a store. That was a huge, huge step for the business. It was a huge thing, and it's something I definitely, I don't take for granted. I mean, I look at the life history of the business right now, and that was a huge moment. I mean, that was a huge moment. That partnership with Hilinski's Hope went a long way in the success of the business as a whole. So again, to the Hilinski family, to Kim and Mark and Kelly, his brother, and Ryan specifically, obviously, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to, again, get to know you, build a relationship, and to make a positive impact off the field as well. Kim, I remember specifically, sent me a care package, sent me a couple Hilinski's Hope flags, and sent me wristbands, and wrote me thank you letters. And I still have those. Heck, I've still got my Hilinski's Hope flag flying in my house. So, the impact that they made on my life specifically, and the opportunities they presented me to work with them and build a friendship and a partnership and what have you. Again, it's just something I don't take for granted. So again, first things first, thank you to the Hilinski family and to Ryan Hilinski specifically for choosing to be Gamecocks, for allowing Gamecock Nation to embrace you. Thank you so much for, uprooting and your family and bringing yourself to Columbia, and again, allowing Gamecock Nation to embrace you all. As far as on the field, I will say thank you to Ryan Hilinski for the memories in 2019. It's crazy what can happen in a year. And listen, I'll say this. I don't feel bad for Ryan Hilinski in the sense of the whole losing the starting quarterback job thing. That is the nature of the beast. There's competition. They're going to play the best guy, and whoever South Carolina had on staff, which was Mike Bobo and Will Muschamp and everybody else, they felt like Colin Hill gave them the best chance to win. I'm going to get into that in just a second, but I want to say this. It is a shame how things went down, because we all had high hopes and aspirations after 2019. We all thought, hey, this is the guy. I mean, I know I was thinking that. I thought this is the guy. Maybe Luke Doty can push Ryan Hilinski a little bit, but I thought for certain that Ryan Hilinski was going to be your starting quarterback for at minimum the next 3 to 4 years. And, for that not to pan out, for that, because we all had a different story kind of written in our minds for how his career was going to go. And for that not to pan out, what is a shame. And it was a shame. And, obviously Ryan's a kid that played a lot of good football for South Carolina in 2019, had his ups, had his downs, had his freshman moments, but overall played some solid football for the Gamecocks. And I truly am appreciative of that. Now, with that all being said, and I first things first, I fully expect Ryan Hilinski to land on his feet. I know we're all pulling for him, hoping, wishing nothing but massive success for him wherever he goes, wishing nothing but the best. But, I personally am glad Ryan Hilinski made this decision for himself, because the last thing I wanted to do was watch Ryan Hilinski hold a clipboard for the next 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? I want to see Ryan Hilinski play. And Ryan Hilinski's just like every other college athlete, especially at the quarterback position. They want to play, right? They want to play. But I think definitely, and listen, fans can have whatever approach or mentality on it they want, right? They're fans are fans. You can think whatever you want about it. If you really want to think that Mike Bobo screwed over Ryan Hilinski, or he has some personal vendetta against him or something like that, you're more than welcome to that opinion. But I will tell you guys, the narrative that Mike Bobo started Colin Hill over Ryan Hilinski because he quote unquote dislikes Ryan Hilinski is one of the most absurd and laughable narratives that's out there right now. Guys, these coaches, again, you can think whatever you want. I'm not telling you that, whatever. You can think you're welcome, entitled to your own opinion. These coaches are paid lots of money. We all know. Tons of money. But this is their livelihood. This is what they use to put food on the table, right? This is what they literally use and do to put food on the table, to support their families, to feed their own mouths, to take care of the people in their life. That's what they do. They coach football. But winning is the name of the game in the SEC. Winning is the name of the game. And again, if you want to argue that Ryan Hilinski got the shaft in the sense that he should have seen the field more at all in 2020, I will not debate you there, because there were a lot of situations where you're thinking to yourself, I mean, dude, we're down by 30. Why not put him in there? Why not? But I just do not buy the narrative for a single second that Mike Bobo did anything but play the guy that he felt gave South Carolina the best chance to win football games. Bottom line, end of discussion. I just feel like it's something I don't even feel the need to entertain the back and forth of it, to be totally honest with you, because to me, it just feels absurd. It feels absurd that people really think that's a real thing that happened. But, overall, and again, I said this on social media, and I'll say it again. I had someone come at me saying that I was accusing Ryan Hilinski. I'm not accusing Ryan Hilinski of anything. I don't know him personally like that. I don't know what he's thinking right now. But my point was this. What I said on social media was this. A lot of fans, a lot of them, are pointing the finger directly at Mike Bobo and blaming him and saying, thanks a lot. This is your fault because you started Colin Hill and you played Luke Doty and blah, 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 blah. Pointing the finger at Mike Bobo. I sincerely, and I don't think this is the case, but what I said was this. I sincerely hope for Ryan Hilinski's sake that he is not also taking on that mindset, because we all saw his statement about him transferring. He thanked Coach Beamer. He thanked Coach Connor Shaw. He thanked, I think, Will Muschamp. Who did he not thank? He didn't thank Mike Bobo. And I just hope that his mentality is, you know what? Taking responsibility for what happened. And that goes, I could say this to anybody in life, not just Ryan Hilinski. If you're listening right now, whatever happens in your life, take responsibility for it, because the second you start pointing the finger or playing the blame game or blaming other people for your problems, you're done. You're finished. You're beaten. You're mentally done. You are done in that moment. And I don't think Ryan Hilinski's that kind of kid, though. What I hope Ryan Hilinski's mentality is in this situation is he uses it as fuel to the fire. He uses it as a chip on his shoulder, and he says, you know what? That's fine. I didn't win the job. You didn't think I was good enough. That's cool. I'm going to take it upon myself to go somewhere else, to bust my ass. I'm going to improve my game. And the next head coach isn't going to have any choice but to play me, because my play is going to speak for itself. And I think that's the mentality Ryan Hilinski will take on. But that was the whole point of me saying that. That was the whole point of me saying that is, that I just hope Ryan Hilinski has the right mentality, because, again, he's a young kid. He's a young kid, and I just don't want to see a guy like that getting the blame game and blaming other people for their problems. And that's when you start to have more problems, and that's when you start to see failures, and that's when you're just beaten mentally. When you start pointing the finger and blaming other people for your problems and you don't take personal responsibility, you're putting yourself in your own mental hell. Not to dive too deep into the philosophical stuff, but I'm big on personal development. I read a lot of books like that. And that's one of the big things, when you blame external forces for your problems, you are making yourself susceptible to what those external forces, you're letting those external forces dictate what you can and cannot do in life. And that's just not the way to operate. So again, without diving too deep into that, I wish nothing but the best for Ryan Hilinski. Obviously, we're all grateful to Ryan for what he did at South Carolina, and we all know his family story and all that stuff, and that speaks for itself. But it's crazy. I would have never guessed this is how his career would have turned out. I never, sitting here a year ago today, I would have never imagined that it would have played out the way it did in 2020. But it just goes to show you that you just never know. You know what I mean? That, one of the reasons we love college football is that things change so quickly, and there's so much drama, and, so much can happen. And unfortunately, Ryan Hilinski was sort of victim to it this time. So, it's sort of a shame how things went. And, I wish Ryan Hilinski nothing but the best. And again, thank you so much to his family and to him specifically for allowing me to be a part of their lives and to make an impact. And, I'm very grateful for that opportunity and grateful for the Hilinski family that they chose to be Gamecocks and that they allowed Gamecock Nation to embrace them. But again, Ryan Hilinski hitting the transfer portal, not something that I'm very much surprised about. But still a shame. And I know Gamecock fans will be keeping a very close eye on Ryan Hilinski and the way that his quarterback plays out from, the way that his career plays out, I should say, from this point forward. So again, well wishes to Ryan Hilinski, Mark, Kim, Kelly, the entire Hilinski family. Thank you so much for, representing the University of South Carolina in the right way. So, all right, let's dive into this. Looking back at 2020, with that being said, I did this last year, and it only felt right to do it again this year. I think it's great before we move into the new year to look back and sort of reflect and, say thanks first of all, but reflect on the good times, reflect on the best moments, and reflect on the positives that happened in the previous year. And I did that in 2019. I thought it was great. And I'll tell you guys, first things first, before we get into this, when I look back at 2020, the first thing I want to say is this: thank you. Thank you to Gamecock Nation. Thank you to fans of the Spurs Up Show, supporters, people who shared the content, consumed the content, showed love to the content. Anybody who newly followed in 2020 or been following for a few years. Everyone who took time to support, took time out of their day to show love, to tune in, to listen, to download, to retweet, to like, to do it all. Thank you so much to Gamecock Nation. It's crazy because last year, I did the top 5 moments, right, for the Spurs Up Show in 2020. As I sat down to do this, I wrote down 5 moments, and I was like, there's no way I can only do 5 because we had so many positives that happened throughout 2020. So I've got the top 10 moments for the Spurs Up Show. And again, that just speaks volumes to, none of these successes would be possible without you guys. None of them. Absolutely none of them would be. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take for granted the people who show love and support. And again, without you guys, we'd be nothing. We'd be nothing. So I just want to say again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful for the love and support that you guys continue to show. And I know you guys will also make 2021 a massive success. And again, especially through this 2020 year that was so up and down, that saw so much adversity. There was a lot of adversity behind the scenes in regards to, because again, we're talking specifically myself and the Spurs Up Show and the business side of things. I mean, as you guys know, being a small business owner in 2020, what a challenge that was. There were a lot of struggles and adversity and things to overcome behind the scenes. And without you guys' love and support, and constant love and support, man, even through the quarantine, even through, again, the uncertainties and not knowing if we were going to have sports or anything, you guys continued to show love. And when I was trying to makeshift things and make content up and do Twitch streams and just kind of do whatever I could to keep it rolling, you guys continue to listen, you continue to tune in, you continue to share it, you continue to like it, you continue to consume the content. And I cannot speak enough. And you guys probably get sick of me hearing me say it because I feel like I say thank you and I show gratitude on every single podcast. That's just how I'm wired. You know what I mean? I am very gracious and I have a lot of gratitude and I am very thankful and I don't lose perspective of how special and how valuable that is. So again, guys, thank you so much. I mean, I cannot say it enough. Thank you, Gamecock Nation, for all of your love and support. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive in these top 10 moments. Top 10 moments for the Spurs Up Show in 2020. And these are in no particular order. They're just 10 that I jotted down randomly. I got to start first with, as you guys know, the Spurs Up Show. I mean, this business is built off social media, right? I mean, when I started, we had 30 followers on Twitter, didn't have an Instagram page, didn't have a Facebook page. 2020 was a year where we saw a lot of successes on social media. And I'm planning on doing this probably sometime later today. You guys might see a graphic. I really want to go through and calculate all the numbers on all of the respective social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff, and kind of put that together. But overall, the highlights that we hit on social media, the social media successes. In February, we hit 10,000 followers on Twitter. In actually the first game, the Tennessee game, that day, we hit 15,000 followers on Instagram. And then I'm not exactly sure when this happened, but we hit 10,000 likes on Facebook as well. Again, obviously, it's no secret that social media is the backbone of what I do and what we do with the Spurs Up Show. And again, that's how we get the content out. That's how we share content. That's how we grow as a business. And to hit those numbers, to hit those goals, because obviously those were goals we had set out a while ago, right? And to hit those numbers, just a really special thing. So again, thank you guys so much again for the love and support on social media, for helping us hit those achievements on all those respective platforms. And I'm very excited to see in 2021 what heights it can grow to. You know what I mean? I'm really excited for that as well. All right, let's move to the next one. Next big moment out of the top 10 moments for me, the DJ Swearinger interview. That has to be, that's probably one of the best moments in the history of the business all time. Getting to sit down and chat with And, we throw the term legend around a lot. That's a term that can be used loosely a little bit from time to time. But DJ Swearinger's a Gamecock legend, maybe the most popular, maybe the most recognizable, noticeable, notable Gamecock to ever wear the garnet and black on the football field. Getting to sit down and chat with DJ Swearinger for about an hour. But to getting to relive all of our favorite memories as Gamecock fans with the guy that did it, with the guy that made it happen. What an experience. I mean, what an experience that was. And again, I say thank you to you guys because I really think, without the social media presence and the growth and all that, I'm not sure something like that would be possible. I'm not sure something like that could happen. So thank you to you guys. But, man, getting to sit down and talk with DJ and just have casual conversation with literally the GOAT. And I know you guys enjoyed the convo as well because that episode did fantastic numbers. I mean, it did for good reason. But, man, that interview with DJ Swearinger, with all due respect to all the other guests we've had on the show, because we've had some fantastic conversations. I've had the opportunity to chat with some legends. But, man, that DJ Swearinger interview, an all-timer, an absolute all-timer. My next top moment for the Spurs Up Show in 2020 actually happened very recently, as recent as a couple weeks ago, the merchandise partnership at Rivals in Florence, South Carolina. Guys, again, thank you for the love and support you showed the merchandise. Obviously, that was a huge success. With Shane Beamer being hired, the Beamer Ball shirts, all aboard the Shane train, the Shane Storm shirts, even the Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round shirts. Thank you guys for the love there because, again, without your support, something like that would not be possible. With that merchandise partnership at Rivals, man, what a great way to close out the year. I mean, honestly, what a great way to close out 2020 and build that positive momentum going into 2021. I don't have to explain to you guys, I don't think, that the reasons of how big that is for the business. You know what I mean? I really had a goal of making merchandise a much bigger piece of the business in 2020. For one, because it's great for business, but for two, I just love doing it. I love making the cool t-shirts. I love making the merchandise. Like, I really do. I love making the merchandise like that. And, obviously had those plans, and with everything, hitting the fan early in the year, was unable to do that. But, being able to make the Beamer merchandise we made and the people at Rivals reaching out and us setting up that partnership and that deal. And I think that's something that's going to be a very long-lasting partnership and a very fruitful partnership on both sides. And just truly a blessing. You know what I mean? I'm excited we've got some big plans for merchandise in 2021, and I'm very excited for what's to come, in that regard. But again, guys, thank you so much again, because without you guys supporting the merchandise initially and building that momentum initially, stuff like that wouldn't happen. And thank you to the people at Rivals as well. And if you haven't checked it out, Rivals in Florence, South Carolina, they've got all your Beamer merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff. Be sure to check them out. But yeah, definitely one of the top moments of the year for me and for the business as well. Another big moment for me, and this kind of goes back to social media successes as well. 2020 was a year of setting records for the Spurs Up Show across all fronts. You know what I mean? But specifically with the podcast and the website, we saw over the last few months of 2020, and specifically football season, of course, of course, during the football season, that is peak season, if you will, and views are going to go up a little bit and downloads are going to go up a little bit. But to literally set records for the business, for the podcast, for the website, guys, in November alone, we had 50,000 website views, 50,000, which is incredible. I mean, it crushed our previous record set. I think the previous record was around like 30,000. Crushed. We had one article get 30,000 views. And obviously we had some help in that regard with the coaching stuff happening and all that stuff or whatever. But man, just to set those records and show growth. And as I speak to you guys right now, again, I'm talking at 4:00 in the afternoon on December the 30th. We are at 35.9, basically 36,000 podcast downloads for the month of December, which for the third straight month in a row, we have set the record for podcast downloads. And again, obviously, I don't have to explain it. That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal for the business, for the growth of the business. It shows that the work we're putting in is paying off. The work that I'm putting in is paying off. And again, I just truly, genuinely appreciate all you guys' love, support, everyone who has ever taken a second out of their day to tune in, to show love, to consume the content, share the content, all that good stuff, man. It's been awesome to see. So again, definitely setting those records in 2020. Truly a blessing, and without a doubt, one of the best moments of the 2020 calendar year. Another big moment for me, and I don't know if I can really encapsulate this in one specific like day or moment, if you will. But one of the top moments for the Spurs Up show and for me personally in 2020 was simply just overcoming the pandemic. It's no secret. 2020 was one hell of a year to be a small business owner. I mean, was it not? I'm sure there's many of you listening. I'm sure there's many of you listening right now that either own small businesses or know someone who owns a small business or know a friend who knows a friend, or maybe you've seen stuff on social media and, people having to close up their doors and businesses that have been around for years that, are falling apart or having to close shop because of the pandemic and losing money. And we all understand the challenges that 2020 presented, and not just to small business owners, to everyone, but especially for people who own small businesses. And I fall in that category. And it was sort of ironic because for yours truly, I moved to Columbia in August of 2019. 2020 was my first full year doing the Spurs Up show full time. And I mean, to think, what a year, right? What a first year to have. What a first full year to have doing the business full time. But to me, honestly, guys, overcoming the pandemic, being able to be resilient and fight through it, and it wasn't always perfect at times, and there was uncertainty a lot of times. I mean, I'll be totally honest and transparent with you guys. I was sitting there beginning of August, because we found out about that time that the Big Ten and Pac-12, they were at best postponing their seasons, may have been canceling. I mean, I remember sitting there at that point thinking to myself, dude, if we don't have football, I'm screwed. I mean, I really am. I mean, I'm screwed because, yes, we have the platform. Yes, we have the audience. But if you don't have a product, I don't think, again, it's any secret to you guys. The way the Spurs Up show operates is via sponsorships and partnering with other small businesses, right? So, without a product, how are we going to sell advertising space? How are we going to partner up with any new sponsors? How's it going to happen? And so, I really took on the mentality once this thing hit in March and we went through the summer and all that. I truly do believe in life. You need to worry about the things you can control. Control what you can control. But I thought to myself, I can control two things right now. That's my attitude and my work ethic. I can stay positive and bust my ass and remain optimistic that things are going to work out and things are going to turn in our favor. And that's what I did. And, again, I spoke to this a little bit earlier, but you guys showing the love that you did, while I really was just trying to make shit. I mean, I was just trying to put shit together. You know what I mean? We're sitting there in the quarantine. We got no baseball. We got no basketball. I'm freaking streaming on Twitch and doing random podcasts, throwback podcasts, watching old games, putting out old, whatever I could do to create content and create value for you guys. And to you guys, again, everyone that supported, that showed love, that, it means so much more than you know. It means so much more than you know that you guys were there with me, I felt like, every single step of the way. And you guys were supportive every single step of the way. And I have so much confidence now. I have so much confidence going into 2021 with not just the Spurs Up show, but myself personally as a small business owner, because I'll tell you this, guys, and again, this goes out to any small business owner listening, or if you know someone that's a small business owner, maybe you can share this message with them as well. They should have, if you were able to make it through 2020, you are, and excuse my language, you are one bad motherfucker. You are. Nothing can stop you, okay? That's how I feel. Going into 2021, there is nothing we can't overcome because, again, half perspective, things could have been much worse, and I totally agree and understand that. But, man, I don't know how much rougher it could really get for small businesses than it got in 2020. I really don't. I mean, with the whole quarantine and the shutdown and all that, I don't know how much tougher it could really get. So as a small business owner, as a small business as a whole, if you were able to get through 2020, and I said this 100 times, it was a hustler's paradise. It was truly a hustler's paradise. And if you were able to make it work, again, I say this to anybody listening who's a small business owner, if you know people that are, kudos to you, man. You're a bad motherfucker. That's what I'm telling you right now. Kudos to you. Kudos to me. Kudos to us all. But again, thank you to you guys, because without you, I wouldn't have gotten through quarantine. The business may not have survived it. I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. But the fact that we were able to, 6-month period, be resilient and battle through it, man. That's what it felt like. We're just battling. We're fighting. You know what I mean? We're scratching. We're clawing. We're staying positive. We're staying optimistic, and we're working our asses off. And you guys, again, were there every step of the way, and we were able to. I really felt like we were able to beat it. We were able to overcome the pandemic, get to football season, have a full football season, and what a blessing that was. So, again, thank you guys. Seriously, thank you. Because without your love and support, I don't know what the future of the business would have looked like. But now, going into 2021, dude, I am so confident. I am so freaking confident in what we have going, what the plans that we have, everything we want to achieve. Honestly, the positive momentum's through the roof for me. So, again, thank you guys. Without your love and support, who knows? Who knows where we'd be right now? Another top moment for me for the Spurs Up Show in 2020. Without a doubt, the watch parties at Overtime Bar and Grill. And I want to mention Overtime Bar and Grill specifically as well, because I talked about the pandemic and I talked about everything that went on. And again, you guys probably noticed, we didn't pick up a new sponsor from the moment the pandemic happened all the way until mid-August. And that sponsor was Overtime Bar and Grill. And I want to say sincerely thank you to those guys, because they caught me at a time where I needed it. You know what I mean? We needed it as a business. We had to have it. And, we were able to do the partnership with them all throughout football season, all the watch parties, and, of course, with COVID, with really not being able to attend the games. Now, yes, I did go to a few later in the season, but, it made it really difficult to attend games with limited capacity and all that. Overtime Bar and Grill, they were a fantastic host, getting to go there, do pregame shows, postgame shows, interact with the staff there, getting to know Daisy and that entire staff there working behind the bar, and the people that run that place. They do a phenomenal job, and getting to experience games in that venue, and had some great moments and great memories there. And then everyone that came out that I interacted with, that we were able to chat with and talk Gamecocks and cheer on the Gamecocks and live through the highs and suffer through the lows and all that good stuff. The watch parties at Overtime Bar and Grill definitely stand out to me as, it's without a doubt one of the best, one of the best memories and one of the best moments for sure of the 2020 year. On that note as well, another big moment, another top moment for me in 2020, dating all the way back to January, all the way through the last football game, just all of the fan interactions at sporting events. Because, that was honestly, for me, guys, that was the thing that I missed most from quarantine and not being able to go to football games for really the first half of the season. The support, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here or whatever, but the support that I have received going out to Carolina basketball, baseball, and even football later in the season, the support from people coming up saying, hey, you're the Spurs Up Show guy. Hey, do you want to take a picture with us? Hey, I appreciate what you do for Gamecock Nation. Hey, I appreciate what you do as a whole. People's coming up and saying that, bro. It's overwhelming. It's wild. It really is. It's wild. And it's a blessing. And I truly love coming in contact with everybody I've ever come in contact with, talking Gamecocks, hearing their story, and a simple just saying thank you to people. Later in the season, I was able to pass out business cards and stuff. I was like, damn, I'm going to be meeting people. I need business cards, right? We got to be legit. We got to be official. But getting to chat with you guys, everybody who took a second out of their time at any sporting event or any time period to say what's up, to shake my hand, to say that they, just to show love, just means the world. It's just it's so flattering. It's so overwhelming in a sense. So cool. And something I will never take for granted, man. That's something that'll never get old to me. So again, thank you guys so much. And if you ever see me out at a game, honestly, man, I would just say say what's up, holler. I would love to chat with you. It's always a pleasure to chat with the fans and chat with Gamecock fans and talk Gamecocks and just intermingle with people. You know what I mean? I love meeting new people. So I really appreciate, guys, all the love you guys showed. Again, not just through social media and the podcast and all that, but in person. That was That was incredible. That was incredible. And I look forward to more of that in 2021. Another big moment for the Spurs Up show in 2020. I have to mention this, but the Daily Crow and the success of the Daily Crow. You know, it's really interesting. People might look at the Daily Crow and think, oh, it's like a new thing. It's a new piece of content he's doing, blah, 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 whatever. It's really not. Dude, I was doing the Daily Crow, back in like 2018. And when it started, you know, I was doing it daily on just Periscope, and it would be about 10 minutes or so, and I'd talk about whatever topic it was. And it sort of evolved from that to, you know, I was doing the Daily Crow with the position unit previews in 2019, and it was still just Periscope. Really didn't dive into YouTube at all. Didn't dive into Facebook Live at all. And then this year came about, and shout out to my buddy Justin Sutherland, by the way. Really good buddy of mine. I hope he doesn't mind me dropping his name, but really good friend of mine, lives up in Anderson. He suggested getting more involved in YouTube. And we did. We did at the end of, actually the end of last year and the beginning of this year, definitely. And I was still very green at it with YouTube. You know, I had used YouTube a little bit here and there. And that's another thing I want to point out, by the way. I didn't mention this in social media successes earlier, but hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and the fact that we're able to monetize YouTube now. What a moment that was for the Spurs Up show in this calendar year. Thank you guys so much. But again, that was sort of the start, right? Was figuring out this whole Daily Crow thing. And I'm like, how can we integrate YouTube? You know, I want to make YouTube. I always knew YouTube was important, but I'm like, how do I make YouTube more of a thing for the Spurs Up show? And you know, we got into quarantine, whatever, and it was really just about sustaining and trying to, you know, sustain the business success we had built, whatever, and just sustain. And I had the idea of, okay, I've always wanted to do an interactive radio show, a call-in radio show. And Rowdy Rooster Radio was born. And there was a social media account or whatever that they had done it. They had used blogtalkradio.com, which no disrespect to them or whatever. I mean, it's a solid platform, but, you know, we did that for about a month. And the platform wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. But guys, as you know, and if you don't know this, you should. But the way that I operate, I love to fail. And here's what I mean by that. I love trying out different pieces of content. And this goes for content, merchandise. This goes for life in general. But I'm someone, I believe in the power of failing because you learn when you fail. And so while Rowdy Rooster Radio maybe wasn't the success that I hoped it would be, because listen, the numbers were not great. We had some people call in every now and then, but the numbers were not, you know, extraordinary or anything. But what Rowdy Rooster Radio provided, it served as the spark for the idea that became the Daily Crow. You know, I finally discovered StreamYard. I don't know where I had been for so long, but I finally discovered the StreamYard platform. And you know, the ability to go live across multiple channels, including YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. And that was a game changer. That's been a game changer. I mean, the Daily Crow has been a massive success. It has been truly a massive success. You know, we're getting over 100 people a day. And let me rephrase that because I want to give credit where credit's due. As I'm live at any time over the hour-long stream, there are 100 people at least tuned in live. So you think of how many people are actually tuning in as a whole. And it's done wonders for our growth on Facebook and building up that really, I would say, that passionate side of the fan base. Not that all people aren't passionate, but really, you know, we've got people that tune in every single day and are asking questions every single day and are calling in. And man, it's just, it's been a blessing, dude. It's just been awesome. The Daily Crow has been a massive success. And again, I say this to you all. Thank you to you guys for all tuning in, for making it what it's become. Because again, the Daily Crow, it wouldn't be successful without people tuning in, leaving questions, and calling in. Because I said this about the radio thing. I don't want to go live for an hour and just me ramble. I ramble here. I ramble on the podcast. I love the aspect of the banter. I love the aspect of fielding questions. I love the aspect of people calling in and us debating and going back and forth and giving our sides of things. You know, I love that side of it. I've always thought what Paul Feinbaum did was so cool. Granted, I don't tune into Paul Feinbaum's show every day, but I've always thought like that setup was really cool. And so to get to do that, because that's basically what we're doing on the Daily Crow, to get to do that, it's been a blessing, man. It's been awesome. And I can't wait to see, what's next and the growth and the successes that lie ahead for that platform, for that streaming content we've been doing. I just can't wait. I really can't wait. So again, guys, thank you so much for the love and support there. My next top moment for the Spurs Up show in 2020. And listen, you guys might let out a collective sigh. Some of you might let out a laugh. I don't know. But I would be remiss to not mention this, okay? And so one of my top moments for the Spurs Up show in 2020 was not quite the moment it happened, but really the aftermath of Will Muschamp's dismissal as head football coach. And let me explain, because again, I do not want this to sound like that one of the top moments was Will Muschamp losing his job. Like, again, people get this so twisted in their mind. They take it so personal. They think I'm stomping on this guy's grave and I'm taking it to a personal level. I'm not. But here is the simple reality and fact for you guys. For the business, views have never been higher. Engagement has never been higher. Like, those sequence of events happening. Because you know what? For better or for worse, and I looked back at my top moments from 2019 when I did this a year ago, and I'm surprised I didn't mention the Fire Muschamp video that came out after the North Carolina game. I didn't mention it, which is, I look back now and I can't believe I didn't, because honestly, guys, again, you can say whatever you want about me, about the brand, about the business, whatever. You can read Twitter comments. You can read comments for days. I don't care what you read. But the fact of the matter is this: that Fire Muschamp sequence of events, probably the best thing to ever happen to my business. Probably the best thing that ever happened. And again, that's not why I did it. It was just a genuine emotional reaction, a fan reacting to his team losing in the fashion we did. But that aftermath was, again, it's no secret. It was a huge turning point for the business. And for better or for worse, I got labeled as the quote-unquote Fire Muschamp guy, right? That's just what happened. But when Will Muschamp was relieved of his duties, I list this moment on here for multiple reasons. Number one, the aftermath of Will Muschamp's dismissal in the regards of smoking a stogie in the studio, going live after the fact and having 1,000 people tune into the live, the numbers that were done on the podcast that week, having the opportunity to go on national radio stations, Fox Sports Radio down in Fort Lauderdale or Tampa or whatever, down in South Florida, and going on ESPN Upstate. Getting talked about that. Also having the opportunity to talk with a couple of USC students that are journalism students and do an interview with them. And again, just that aftermath of that happening. That was a big moment for me. That was a big moment for the business and for the Spurs Up show. And again, I wish Will Muschamp nothing but the best. It's nothing personal, as we all know. And I would say this. It was a top moment for the Spurs Up show because of this reason as well. And if you take nothing else away from it, take this away. The aftermath of Will Muschamp's firing was a top moment because it was finally finished and it's finally done. And I don't have to be the Fire Will Muschamp guy anymore. I don't have to be the Fire Will Muschamp guy anymore, because I'm sure a lot of you, and I've gotten DMs from people, I've noticed there's been a little bit of a different tone in the content lately, right? There's been a different tone in talking about Gamecock football and Shane Beamer and what's going on. And it's not that I did not want to have that tone previously, but I call it like I see it. That's just how I am. That's what I built my business around. I've always been genuine from the beginning. And guess what? I'm going to continue to be genuine. That's just how I'm wired. I'm going to be me. Right, wrong, or indifferent, through successes and failures, I'm going to be me, bottom line. But I'm just so happy that I don't have to spend a large portion of 2021 and this football offseason being the Fire Muschamp guy. I get to close that chapter, if you will, recognize it, acknowledge it, be thankful for it, but move on to this next chapter and be optimistic and look forward and have hope and look forward to what Shane Beamer is building in Columbia. Like that, guys, I mean, again, it's so funny because, again, the comments are so funny, but I've seen people before say, oh, you love Will Muschamp losing games. You love South Carolina losing. You love the whole fire Muschamp thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you couldn't be further from the truth. I want nothing but South Carolina to win. That's all I want. And so, again, to move off of that and to have hope and be optimistic and be positive and have reasons to feel those ways without having to, be fake about it, basically. It's just such a breath of fresh air. And I know you guys all feel it as well. Again, let's wrap up with the final moment. Top 10 moments of the Spurs Up Show in 2020. My final moment I want to mention, and again, this one goes all the way back to baseball season. But, we partnered up, one of our biggest sponsors, we partnered up in January, and we were able to throw an opening day tailgate for baseball season. I just, again, thinking back on moments, that's a moment that really sticks out to me from this year. And really, one of the big reasons it sticks out is because that was the last of its kind. We didn't have tailgating after the pandemic. There hadn't been tailgating. So the ability to throw that tailgate, people came out, said what's up. It was opening day for baseball, which obviously gets me going, as you guys know. Had a good buddy of mine, Bobby Haney, out there, former Gamecock baseball player. We had a couple other former Gamecock baseball players stop by, specifically Alex Destino, Reed Morgan, Ridge Chapman stopped by. Had a really good time. You know what I mean? Had a really, really good time. Had a couple contributors come by. Just people just enjoying themselves on a nice Friday afternoon. And getting to do that tailgate, man, and the fans stopping by too and saying what's up and getting to chat with you guys, it was just a blast. Getting to talk baseball. And, obviously I've got a soft spot for baseball, as I think you guys all know. I'm a baseball guy at heart. But, man, just awesome. And, again, I hate that we weren't able to do more stuff like that because the plan was to do tailgates for every single football game. And we were unable to do that because of obvious reasons. But, that was a great moment. That was a great moment for sure. So, again, that wraps it up, guys. Top 10 moments for the Spurs Up Show in 2020. Like I said, it's a blessing because I sat down and was like, okay, we'll do top 5 moments just like last year. And I got through 5, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. There's no way. I can't just limit it to 5 moments. So, again, guys, I just want to say again, on the last day of 2020 here, Happy New Year's Eve to y'all. I know, again, there's a lot of turmoil happening in 2020 with the pandemic and COVID, and we're still kind of dealing with it now. And there were a lot of ups and a lot of downs for people. Call it for what it is. There was a lot of struggle. There was a lot of adversity. And again, for the business owners out there, the small business owners, I know you dealt with adversity and you dealt with struggle, but we made it, folks. We made it. If you're sitting here today listening, we made it. We got through it. We overcame it. And I want to leave you with this, that you know what? You should be proud of yourself, whoever you are. I don't care what you do, what line of work you're in. If you're a student, if you're in high school, if you're just 9 to 5, the normal working job, whatever you are, if you're a small business owner, if you're the CEO of a Fortune 500, I don't care who you are. If you're a mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever, if you were able to get through 2020 successfully, which if you're listening right now, you did, kudos to you. Congratulations. You made it through probably what's going to be the toughest year of your entire life. And, that should fire you up and excite you and give you confidence for what's to come in 2021. That, what, we are people who are resilient. And this goes out not just to us, on the show today, but just for people in general, the American people, the world. We're resilient people. We're resilient. We're built to overcome. We are built to overcome adversity, to overcome obstacles, to rise above our limits. I really believe that. I think we are. And, I wish you all nothing but the best in 2021, obviously. None of us really know what's to come. There's still going to be some uncertainty. Just because the calendar flips, by the way, I want to say this. Make sure you're carrying the right attitude into 2021, because just because the calendar flips, I've seen this attitude a little bit, and I think it's a little bit misguided. And that some people think, the calendar's flipping, so all of a sudden, all my problems are going to go away. Make sure you're bringing the right attitude to the table in 2021, because if your attitude doesn't change, if you've noticed your attitude has gotten, if you've gotten into like a dark place and you're just not feeling 100%, you're not happy, you're not positive, you're not optimistic, and you're letting outside forces, external forces, like I said, you're letting those things affect you and get you down and hamper your inner peace. If you're letting those things happen, it don't matter if the calendar flips. You got to change your attitude. You got to change the way you perceive things. You got to change your perspective. You got to. And change your attitude, and then that way you can change your reality in 2021. So, again, guys, I wish you all nothing but the best. Hope you have a fantastic New Year's Eve, whether you're going to a party, like I said, keeping it low-key. Just be sure you're safe, responsible. I want to talk to you guys tomorrow on the podcast. But, again, thank you guys so much, seriously. As we chat on the last day of 2020, through the ups, through the downs, you guys have been there every single step of the way. And I am so excited and so fired up and have so much confidence for myself personally, for the Spurs Up show, the business, everything as a whole. I am so fired up for 2021. And I'll say this in closing. As crazy as this may sound to some of you, I would say 2020 was the best year of my life to this point, believe it or not. I turned 30 this year. And this was honestly the best year of my life. And some of you are probably like, Chris, that's just blasphemous. What are you talking about? Dude, because of you guys, by the way, I want to give all the credit where it's due. Because of you guys and your love and support, I was able to live my dream out for the entire year. I mean, I was self-sufficient as a small business owner for the entire year, for an entire calendar year, for the first time in my entire life. And guys, that's a blessing, and that makes it the best year of my entire life. I got to wake up 365 times this year and do what I love to do and chase my goals and chase my passions. And again, I give all the credit to you guys because, again, without your love, without your support, none of it would be possible. So, again, thank you all so much. Happy New Year's Eve to you all. I'll see you next year. No, just kidding. Now, we got a great conversation for you guys. Former Gamecocks running pitcher Will Crowe. Will taking his time to chat with me. And, guys, it's really awesome. Whenever you get a major leaguer, literal big leaguer on the show, that is big-time news. And Will, obviously, very gracious with his time. An awesome conversation, guys. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy this conversation with former Gamecocks running pitcher Will Crowe. All right, joining us today on the Spurs Up show is a man that played for Gamecocks baseball from 2014 to 2017. During his Gamecocks career, he had a 17-12 overall record, 3.48 ERA. He threw 235 and a third innings for the Gamecocks. He was drafted in the second round, the 65th pick overall by the Washington Nationals in the 2017 MLB draft. Made his MLB debut just a few months ago for the Nats on August the 22nd, 2020. As recently as Christmas Eve, was traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates. What a way to spend Christmas. Mr. Will Crowe joining me here on the airwaves. Will, appreciate you taking the time, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. Pleasure to chat with you here today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be a part. I'm looking forward to this, man.
Yeah, and for those that can't see, obviously can't see the video portion, I'm rocking the Pirates gear. Will's rocking the Gamecocks gear, so we got all bases covered right now in regards to representation. But let's go back all the way to the beginning for you, Will, because you're a guy a lot of people don't know. You're from the state of Tennessee. You went to Pigeon Forge High School, came to South Carolina, obviously. Talk about your recruiting process. Again, you got there in 2014. I'd imagine, the recruiting process in baseball, it starts so early, as you know. I mean, I'm sure you were a guy that was getting contacted when you're like a freshman, stuff like that. And, you were watching the Gamecocks in the midst of, their greatest run ever, winning back-to-back national titles, going 3 straight times. Just talk about the recruiting process like for you. When did South Carolina come up and what made you want to be a Gamecock?
Yeah, so like you said, as baseball starts kind of early, and even now I think it's earlier than it was before. When I was going through it, I was a freshman. I mean, I wasn't throwing 90 or anything, but I was throwing mid-80s, and those guys are playing off projections then. And my first school actually was College of Charleston, and it was Coach Monty Lee, and he kind of came onto the scene and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna offer you the scholarship. This I would love for you to be here, yada yada. That whole 9 yards." And my high school head coach was a very both of his kids played D1 baseball. Both of his older kids, they all are like baseball gurus. Like every one of them still are in the game. Like they're all about it. But he was big on saying, "Hey, take your time. Once you commit, that's your word." Like his thing was like, your word is all you got. So like as soon as you commit, there's no turning back. Like there's no decommitting. There's none of this. So it was like, all right, I'm gonna take my time. And he said, make sure you really know where you want to go. So it ended up being like Alabama and Kentucky. And then went to Atlanta, PGA, like Perfect Game, National, and all that good stuff. And someone contacted him. He's a very, very close. And they said, hey, don't commit. Don't do anything crazy. You know, somebody's calling you tomorrow. Like, you know, it's a big team. And then the next thing I know is Coach Esposito is calling me. The first day he's allowed to contact me. 2 days later, I'm pitching in Atlanta. Ray Tanner and Coach Holbrook are at my start. Right. And I'm like 16, 17 years old. I'm freaking out. And then they basically called me and said, we want to get you on campus. You know, I think it was like a dead period at the time. All they could do was like watch. And they called me to campus, and I was actually on my way to Charleston for a baseball tournament, and stopped for like a couple hours, saw the campus, saw everything. And I don't know, I've been to like 6 different places, and I told them, I said, can I walk out I want to walk out on the field and just see what it's like. And they're like, yeah, no problem at all. And as soon as I walked out, like out of the dugout, and like something in my body just like changed, like my whole demeanor, my whole like attitude, my body, like I got cold chills, and it just felt like home, and it felt like a place I wanted to be. And before I even got back up inside, I was telling my coach, I was like, I want to go here. Like, this is where I want to be, you know? And he was like, all right, take a day or two, you know, you got that initial, like you're at the place you want to go now. And we took like 2 or 3 days. I was in Charleston, and Coach Holbrook ended up coming and watching me play again. And it was actually the day he got named the head coach. And I told him, he left the field a little early. I called him. I said, hey, can you come back? He was about 10 minutes down the road. He drove back, and I told him face to face, I said, I'm going to be a Gamecock. I'm committing. And funny thing is, he was like, well, I'm super glad you called me. He told me to come back. I would love to sit here and have a conversation and, you know, dive into this stuff, but I'm going to be named the head coach today. And he drove back up to Columbia, and an hour later, you know, he's named the head coach. So
did that ever deter you? I mean, as far as, obviously, it sounds like you had a great relationship with Coach Holbrook and everything. And I know, like, everybody I've talked to, all, you know, your former teammates, stuff like that, they all seem to really adore Coach Holbrook and everything. But did Ray Tanner's retirement surprise you? Did it ever wane, like, as far as make you question your commitment or anything? Or was it just like full steam ahead no matter what?
No, I at the beginning of it, I was thinking it was going to be Ray. And then about a week before I committed, they were like, hey, we just want to let you know Ray's making a transition. You know, he's going to become the AD. And Chad really was, him and Sammy were, like, to me, the two that kind of led me the whole way through my 3-4 weeks of the recruiting process. So I knew as soon as he told me that, I was like, that didn't matter. I wanted to be at South Carolina. I want to be a part of that tradition, you know. And for me, like you said, it was coming off the 3 national championship appearances in a row, 2 wins and a second. And then to me, I always have valued winning, you know. Like, that's a big thing for me. I could have went in my backyard in Tennessee and been right there at home, and, you know, I'd probably paid a similar amount to go to school, you know. And big thing for me was I didn't want to go somewhere and not enjoy myself and lose, you know. And they're a great program now, but at the time they were in a lull, and I just didn't want to have to go and struggle like that. And I knew that South Carolina was getting the best players, had the best facilities, had the best coaches, you know. And to me, being able to go in and win immediately was a big thing for me.
For sure. And you got off to a quick start, Will. I want to say you get on campus, obviously, 2014, your freshman year. You started 15 games, went 8-3 with a 2.75 ERA, threw over 91 innings for South Carolina. You got freshman All-American honors from Baseball America, SEC Freshman of the Week, SEC Pitcher of the Week. I mean, you were named to the NCAA Regional All-Tournament team. What clicked for you? I mean, you obviously hit the ground running. You were a big part of the Gamecocks rotation your freshman year. I mean, what clicked for you specifically? Because, again, we all know, and guys have told me, that jump from high school to SEC baseball, that's a real thing. I mean, it's, you know, I'm sure you can relate to this. It's like playing AA. I mean, that's literally what SEC baseball is. But, yeah, what made the transition so seamless for you think?
I just think that the culture, you know, we had such a great group of guys. And from the beginning, from when I came in, you know, I had, you know, Gumby, and I had Jack Weinkoop and Grayson Griner and Joey Pink. I had all these guys that kind of took me under their wing and, you know, made me feel super comfortable. And then you get in, and it's all about competing when you get there, you know. And to me, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to have a chance to compete and play, and let that like run its course. And Chad brought me in, mid of the fall, and he said, "Hey, you keep doing your thing. You keep competing. You keep working your butt off. You're gonna have a place on this team this year. You're gonna have a lot of innings for us." And he said, "I don't know if you'll be in the bullpen. I don't know if you're gonna start, but we're gonna give you innings, and we need you." And he said, "You just keep doing what you're doing and work your butt off." And from the head coach all the way down to the 35th guy on our team, to Billy Anderson, one of the greatest strength coaches ever. It's like everybody, filtering confidence and loving each other and just being a part. And it was that team mentality that we had that, made everyone better. And that's that year. I mean, I think we started off like 29-0 or something, and like number one team in history. And like, that wasn't because we were, the most talented, but we always played for each other. And like the Clemson game at Clemson that year that was a Sunday, we're down, 5-4 or 4-2 in the eighth inning, 2 outs. And like, as soon as it got there, everyone in the dugout was like, we know we aren't going to lose this game. Mm-hmm. And it's like hit here, hit there, go ahead in the ninth, bring in Joel Sed and Cody Mincy, and it's like game over. You didn't have to worry about it. So it was that team atmosphere really took it over the top.
For sure. You talked about, again, in the recruiting process, when you walked out on Founders Park, obviously beautiful, amazing facility. When you walked out there, you felt that rush of emotion and, the goosebumps and everything. Do you remember your first outing at Founders Park? Like, what was that like for you to actually get out there? You're wearing the pinstripes or whatever and have your first outing as a Gamecock.
Yeah, it's I'll never forget it. It's 7,000 people. It was a Sunday.
Right.
It's either, I think it was, oh man, Campbell was the
regional game. Yeah.
It was like Brown or one of those colleges.
Right.
And I forget the college, but I don't forget the game. I think I went like 6 1/3. I didn't give up a hit, or 5 1/3, didn't go up a hit. And there's 7,000 people there. And the song Clocks by Coldplay, Coach Holbrook or Coach Myers comes out to take me out. And the song Coldplay comes on. And I get chills. They run down my back, and I start walking off the field, and everybody's giving me a standing O. And I'm like, holy, like, I'll never forget walking off the field. I was like, this is awesome. This is why you come to South Carolina. This is why you want to be here, because some of the best fans, or the best fans in my mind, and like just always there for you. Like, it was just an incredible feeling.
Now, I want to move, Will, to your sophomore year, because obviously with all the success you had, it did not come without overcoming adversity. 2015, your sophomore year, you started out the year 3-4, back in the rotation, whatever, but you had surgery, missed the rest of the 2015 season, and missed 2016. And you were out the entire, basically a year and a half, if you will. Talk about the injury. I know it was obviously elbow surgery. I'm assuming, was it Tommy John? Yeah. You can kind of fill us in on that. And just, I mean, again, it's the mental grind that really gets you. You know what I mean? Obviously, sitting out that long. I mean, I imagine you probably didn't throw in a competitive game, for over a year. Just talk about, again, dealing with that, battling that, overcoming that adversity. Because, again, you have that great freshman season. You're thinking to yourself, you're just going to roll back out there, do it again the sophomore year, and all of a sudden it pops and and that's it. So, I mean, just talk about overcoming that.
Yeah, it was tough. You get in there and they do the surgery and everything, and we don't know, like the success rate now I think is a lot better than it was 5 years ago, but it was kind of up in the air. You got to work your butt off to get back to where you want to be. You got to do this and do that. And to me, it was a job. It was like, I didn't get to go on the field, and I didn't get to be in the weight room with the guys. And I didn't get all that. To me, my working out and my daily grind was to go in there with Brainerd and, kick it for 2 hours. And what he told me to do, I did. And, because I wanted to get back, and I wanted to be on the field, and I wanted to play. And, it comes with a support system, the team, the guys, they were still there for me. And they, some of my best friends, and then my wife now, we end up not long after I had the surgery, I ended up moving into her condo with her. And like, she was super supportive of me, and always, I had a recliner in her house because I had to sleep in it for 3 weeks. It's like, it's so funny. She says, I'm going to get that recliner and put you back on it when I make her mad now. So it's kind of funny, but, just the support system I had from my family to her family, to my teammates, to the coaches, that and just going in every day and knowing, hey, this is your job. This is, if you want to get back to where you were, this is what you got to do. And, just trying to help the guys as much as I can. That's all I was really able to do, is just be there for them, like supporting them. And then, going into the training room every day and working at it like it was my job.
For sure. Let's switch gears a little bit. We talked a little bit about the South Carolina Clemson baseball rivalry, and I would say I think it's the best rivalry in all of college baseball. And as far as intensity, I mean, that's a super regional environment when those two teams play. Just talk about, again, your experiences in the rivalry, what that was like for you. Because, again, you were a guy coming from Tennessee. I mean, I'm sure you weren't really, all that familiar with the rivalry outside of like South Carolina and Clemson playing in Omaha and stuff like that. But actually being a part of it, what was that like for you?
It's you can't really explain it. It's something that you get out there. And for me, I didn't have that. Like, I'm from South Carolina. I like South Carolina, not Clemson. And when I came in, it was, Joey and Grayson were the two that were like, we don't like these guys. we don't mess with these guys. Like, when we go out there to kill them. We go out there to beat them. And like, that's the end of it. And then, you get in there and, I think that Friday night game, Gumby's throwing against their Friday night guy, and it's in our park. And, we're going back and forth. And I think we might've brought in Mincy or something or somebody. And I think they got a hit by pitch. And it was like, that was the first time I'd really recognized it. Cause it was like their guys stood up, our guys, like we stood up, like it was like nails, like what's going on here? Like get this, let's go. We were all ready to go. And like, you see the videos and Omaha and the old videos of all the times that we played them. And, it's an electric atmosphere, and it's something you can't really explain unless you're there, you're in it. And it's just an awesome feeling. It's one of the, like you said, it's the greatest college baseball rivalry, in my opinion. I don't think anything compares and matches up.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. So let's move to your junior year, Will, because, again, you suffered the injury, but you overcame the adversity. I'm not sure if this was a Friday or what day it was, but, again, you come into your junior season, which, again, I think this speaks to, how good of a prospect you were, how good of a player you were, obviously your character, and overcoming, again, that adversity. You were a 2017 preseason All-American, third-team preseason All-American by Baseball American. You didn't even pitch the year before. But you come in that year, you throw 5 scoreless, 7 strikeouts, and a 5-1 win over UNCG. And, again, you finally get back out in the field. Just talk about that because, again, it's that mental grind, overcoming that. You finally get back out in the bump, and you have a successful return. I'm sure that was something where it was like really a rush of emotion for you.
Yeah, I'm not one to throw, upper 90s. And I remember the first pitch, I'm out there all on adrenaline, on steam, just ready to go. And I think that first pitch I threw was like 97, like over the backstop. It felt like catchers jumping out of squat, and it's like, all right, we're back, we're here. Let's go. It's finally back in that like real game atmosphere. It's go time. And once that first pitch was gone, man, it was back to competing. It's I'm out here trying to win this game for my guys and try and do my best for my guys, and that's all I was worried about. And like you said, I had a good game. It was good to get back out there and fight those emotions, and I was super excited about it. That's another one that'll always stick with me.
Now, would you say Tommy John helped you? I mean, you were one of the guys that you saw a velo jump. Because, I mean, again, that's not always the case, but you do hear of a lot of guys that they come back throwing harder. I mean, was that it for you, I would say, or?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when I came back, I was probably 90, 92 as a freshman. And that first, that year, that first year I came back, I was 4 to 6 a lot of the time, touching 7s. And, I mean, even now, like, I'm off the adrenaline rush and all that good stuff. But I'm still, I can still get 95, so I would say, yeah, it helped me. The thing is when you go through Tommy John, you're not like building up your elbow, you're building up your shoulder, and you're doing all these like little muscles in your shoulder that you've probably never worked out before. So you get all these little muscles stronger and things, and it just helps with the recovery side, and it helps with the transitional side of, getting your body into better shape or getting your arm into better shape. And you're just letting that ligament, kind of heal, and then your shoulder is really getting stronger. So yeah, I think if you do it the right way and you do it with the right people, with the right training, you're there's no way you're not going to come back stronger, because more than likely you haven't, trained your body that way before for 16 months.
Yeah, minor setback for a major comeback for sure. It's crazy how something like that can turn out to be probably the best thing that ever happened to you. I want to talk a little bit about that junior year, Will, because again, you were a big piece yet again, went 6-5 with a 3.41 ERA. But I want to ask you, because I remember specifically about that 2017 season. And when you think back, and I'm sure you think the same way, but when you think back, it is crazy to see the guys you played with and where they are now. I mean, Clark Schmidt, look what he's doing. Adam Hill, and you keep going down the list, hitters, Alex Destino, and these other guys. And like that team, Tyler Johnson, I remember that team was ranked in the top 5 in the preseason. And then the season went the way it did. Injury after injury after injury after losing this Sunday. It felt like every weekend was coming down to the final game. And you guys, for whatever reason, ball wasn't bouncing your way. I mean, just talk about that junior season again. I know you didn't close your career the way you necessarily wanted, at least team-wise. I mean, how difficult was it going to that season? Because, again, it just all the preseason expectations and then the injury bug hits, and it just felt like it was a snowball that just got out of control that year.
Yeah, it's frustrating. You like you said, we had a bunch of studs on that team, and I think we had maybe one of our best, like talent-wise teams, maybe.
People were saying before that season that they thought that was the best Gamecocks pitching staff of all time, like weekend rotation with Clark, you, and then Adam Hill, which, I mean, you could realistically debate that. I will give you that. You could debate that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we were stacked. And like you said, the ball didn't fall our way sometimes. We got into some bad predicaments sometimes, we beat ourselves sometimes. But, it was frustrating, but it's baseball. I think big thing that, like, even Ray came in my freshman year and told us this, and Chad would always say it was, in the SEC, you play 30 games. You're going to win 10, you're going to lose 10. It's those other 10 that really determine what happens. And it just so happened that those other 10, I think we were like 3-7. And if you look at it, we probably lost, those 7 games that we lost were probably by a run or by the ball not falling our way, or, a blue pit here and something happening here. It's not like we were getting boat raced or anything, but like you lose your Friday night guy who ends up being a first rounder. You lose Tyler Johnson, who's a 5th rounder throwing 100. You lose him for half the year. Right. Just so many things. Like Madison Stokes, most of that year was hurt. Like, just a lot of things just didn't fall our way. And, that's just baseball sometimes. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. And we hated it. But then you look next year, the following year, you still have Adam Hill. You still got a lot of your core guys, and you go to a super regional. And that just shows you that the team that we had was there, but, the pieces weren't in the right place. With the injuries and such things. So the ball can fall either way. It still does it in the big leagues, in AA, AAA, it's the same way. Like, the ball is not going to fall your way sometimes, and it's whatever, but like, we let it snowball, and that was on us. And unfortunately we didn't get to where we wanted to be, but we were stacked. It just stinks that that's the way it happened here.
For sure. I want to get your thoughts before we move into, obviously, you getting drafted by the Washington Nationals. What happened immediately following after you left South Carolina baseball with Chad Holbrook, obviously his tenure coming to an end, him stepping down or whatever happened at the end, and Mark Kingston getting hired. I guess just kind of talk about that sequence of events. Have you had a chance to meet Mark Kingston and go back to the facility and talk to him? And were you surprised at all at the sequence of events with Chad moving on from South Carolina?
I wasn't too surprised. I think there was a culture change that kind of needed to happen, and some things weren't going the right way. And
because you saw the entire Holbrook tenure, I was going to say, like, you were literally there for the entirety of. That's interesting.
Yeah, I love Chad. He's still to this day, he's down here I live in Charleston, and I actually saw him a couple hours ago. I was out on the field throwing with a buddy, and he was hitting with this kid, and Chad's real close to me, and I respect the heck out of him. I'm really close with Chad. I love him to death. But I think there were some things that just weren't in the cards. There's some on both sides. The baseball side, the player side, and the coaching side. And I think it was just the time that we needed someone different, because a change in scenery for some of the guys that were there was probably a good thing. there were some things that went down that 17 season that between the coaching staff that might not have been good for the players. And I don't know. I'm just speculating, but the change in culture and things was good because these guys, new guy coming in, you don't have anything. You can't sit here and rely on, hey, I was a starting guy last year. No, this guy doesn't know who you are. He's coming in. He's done his research, but he wants to get his eyes on you. And Coach Kingston's done a great job. I've met him a couple times. Went back. I haven't been back a ton since I got drafted. I kind of, once I get home from season, I kind of keep my feet in Charleston and I don't really move much. But I've met him a couple times. He's a great dude. I'm looking forward for this year. It should be a great year for those guys. They got a good team and a bunch of good players. And I think they have a chance to be good. And Coach Kingston, he does things a little differently than Chad does on the analytics and, the spin rates and the launch angles and, diving into that. But that's how baseball is going nowadays. All the teams that are taking advantage of that are really, they're diving in and figuring out like, hey, this is what you do good. Let's hammer what you do good. And let's not worry about all, like the bad, like if you're really good at throwing a slider, then why are you thinking about you're throwing you have a bad curveball? Why not just hammer that slider? You know what I mean? So he's doing a great job. I think he's got some good players in there. And I think this year they're going to have a good year and it'll be fun to watch them. I'm excited to get Carolina baseball back.
Yeah, definitely pumped for it for sure. Counting down the days. Let's move to again. You get drafted by the Nationals, 65th overall pick, second round pick by Washington. Just talk about again. You fulfill a lifelong dream, especially like we said in college. You overcome that adversity. You get back. You solidify your spot again. Second round pick. Just talk about when you got that call, what that was like.
It was kind of crazy. Me and my family and a couple of friends were having a little like draft, kind of watch party, I guess, amongst us, like my wife's family and my family. And we were actually at a place, what was that place called? It's right across from a loft hotel in the Vista. It's a restaurant right there. Right. It looks like an old-timey Sonic. You can like pull in underneath the thing and
Blue Marlin or no? I'm trying to.
Yeah, Blue Marlin.
Was it Blue Marlin? Okay, yeah. I remember like the hangar, like whatever. I mean, I'm in Columbia. It's like I see it. It's like it does look kind of like a Sonic. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so we were in a back room there, right. And we go through the first round, and my agent's like, "Hey, there's like 5 teams that are on you. We're gonna let you know." Like at first, it started with like the 25th all the way to like 40, and then the White Sox are actually picking at 40. And my agent calls and he's asking me like, "Hey, do you want this amount? Like, is this fine? Like, what are we?" We went back and forth, and he was like, "Yeah, I think it's a good idea." I was like, "All right, we're doing it. Let's do it. Let's go." Yeah. And he goes, "All right, congrats, you're a White." And I'm like, "Sweet." The pick, like 2 picks away. I'm like, "Awesome, let's go." Pick comes up and it's Gavin Sheets from Wake Forest. And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" And everyone's like, "What just happened?" Like, what? My family's like, "What's going on? Like, what's happening?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I call my agent. He says, they told us they were picking you and we don't know anything else. And then he tells me, he goes, "Give me 2 minutes. I'll call you right back." All right. Calls me back and he goes, "All right, you're not getting drafted tonight." He said, "We've told all the teams like not to pick you. There's a team in the early 3rd round that wants to pick you. They're going to give you more money. And we haven't spoken to one team, but we're close with them. We left them a voicemail. They shouldn't draft you. You're good to go." Well, that one team was the Nationals. So like when he tells me that, we close up shop. We're like, "All right, we're going." It was time to leave. We're closing up shop and we pack everything up and I'm walking out the door and Tyler Johnson goes, "Congrats, big dog," on my phone. He sent me a text and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You just got drafted by the Nationals." And I was like, "What?" And then it's like my phone just goes off. So like I'm trying to see like where they pick me, and like my parents, nobody knows. We're standing outside and like in the middle of summer in Columbia at 10 o'clock at night, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it was good though. It was a crazy night. It was weird, and we didn't expect it after all that, but it was a good night. We were excited about it, and it turned out to be a great place to be and play at.
Yeah, for sure. So you begin your career with Washington. I think this is really interesting. You had a lot of success in the minor leagues. You were in the Carolina League All-Star game, named co-minor league pitcher of the year one year. I want to ask you about this, though, because in 2019, you got invited to participate in Major League Spring Training, and you worked with guys, again, with Washington, like Patrick Corbin, Max Scherzer, Strasburg, and something funny here. Apparently, you told the Washington Post it was, quote, like getting a PhD in pitching. Just expand on that, because again, I can imagine we all see Scherzer on TV. That dude's a maniac from what, like, just looking at him, like, why he's like mouthing things, and we all know about Strasburg, his story, guys, throws incredible. But yeah, just talk about that. I mean, getting to learn from those guys, I mean, that had to be just an awesome experience.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blessing. Hey, it was it was a blessing. Those guys are so smart, from their routines to their work ethic to how they go about their business, their mental cues. I mean, Strasburg and I worked a lot in spring training on some stuff out of the stretch for me. He throws specifically out of the stretch,
right?
Maintain his mechanics and do everything the way he wants. But the way he loads and the way he throws is very similar to the way I load in the windup, or in the stretch. I'm sorry. And for him, he was showing me a couple things for 4 weeks straight in a big league camp, early morning, 7:30. Like he's telling me, hey, Tuesday, Thursday, 7:30, let's go. We're gonna go work on this. I got to work on it too. And he would put in a little dip, and he would be out there, and we'd be out there at 7:30 in the morning. Max is probably the only other person outside right at 7:30. He's running his poles and doing all his stuff, and me and Strasburg are working hard, like in the bullpen, trying to figure out, like, getting the right mechanics and getting the right stuff. And then, you got Patrick, and we even had Anibal Sanchez, who's, 12, 13 years in the big leagues. And he's like telling you his mental cues and his story, and the way he used to throw 100. And now he's competing, winning 20 games a year at, 87 to 91. And like, just these guys are so, like, they're so smart, and they've got 10 years in the big leagues for a reason, and they're making $200-300 million for a reason. And just being able to throw stuff off of them, pick their brain, and say, hey, what do you feel when you do this, or when you do this, or like on your slider, how do you feel when you're in your fingers, pressure point here, pressure point there. They're just all so smart, and they really understand their bodies and the way that, like, the body should move. And it's something that I'll never forget, because of the amount of help they gave me when I was at Washington National.
Well, what was your biggest adjustment or thing you had to learn, you feel like, when you went from college to the pro game? Because again, it's another jump, like going from high school to SEC. It's another big jump, and like you said, the detail is so. I mean, it's all over the place. What was the thing for you, like I said, that you had to learn or did learn that helped you have success in the minors?
Yeah, probably just getting that routine, and from day one, as a starter, it's a little different than maybe your relievers or your position players, but they tell you, hey, you're going to need a routine, and that's what's going to get you through. Like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, you're pitching day 5. Right. And you're like, okay, like what makes me go? What makes me do what I can do at the best? So, your first year, 2 years, you're throwing something in on Monday for a Friday start, and you're seeing how you feel on Friday. You're doing something day 2, day 3, and it's really figuring out that routine. And in South Carolina, you're pitching for me, it was every 7th day. Right. So like pitch Friday, light catch Saturday, Sunday, Monday we get a massage and it'd be an off day, maybe a little catch, Tuesday bullpen, Wednesday, Thursday, very like light catch, Friday, go time.
Right.
When the big league or in pro ball, it's all right, you're pitching Monday and then you're going to pitch Saturday. And, every third or fourth start, we're going to have an off day. So your routine's going to go from 5 days to 6 days. Right. And then you're back to 5 days. So it's really learning like what your body needs and how to maintain and keep up with your rehab and your prehab and your stuff with the trainer, your workouts, really figuring out like those 5 day periods, those 6 day periods, what makes you go. So then on that 5th day or that 6th day, when it's go time, you're ready, nothing's going to stop you. Nothing is bothering you or something. You don't have anything that's going to mess with you.
Now, Will, before we get into obviously you making your big league debut this past season, I just want to ask you, just being a professional ball player in 2020, man, what a time to be alive. I mean, obviously we all saw it kind of fall apart in March, and spring training everything gets stopped. And we didn't even know for the longest whether we were going to have a season. And you guys, got going, late June, or was it late July, actually, I think?
Late July.
Had a 60-game schedule, which I will say this, from the fan perspective, it was a blast. I mean, I watched more Braves baseball this summer than I'd probably watched in the last couple of years come back. Because I'll be honest, I'm a baseball guy. I played in college, actually played at Newberry College. But as a baseball fan, it's one of those things where I'm sure man, you get into July, August, you get in those dog days, and it's just hard. It gets hard to watch. You know what I mean? There's just so many games, but in that 60-game format, it's every game, every series matters. But again, for a lot of 2020, for you guys, there was just so much uncertainty. Are we going to have a season? I mean, other guys I was talking to, I saw, a couple of former South Carolina guys were working out in Greenville and Charleston, whatever, just trying to stay sharp. I mean, what was that like for you? How did you maintain? How did you stay sharp? Because again, I know the minor league season was completely lost, but obviously you didn't have to worry about that. But I mean, what was that like for you, again, just dealing with that uncertainty?
Yeah, it was weird. We were in camp, and, the COVID bug hit, right when we got there, everything was kind of going AWOL in Seattle, and everyone's like, what's going on? And no one really thought anything of it. Everyone's like, it'll pass, we're playing, we're going. And then, it gets into early March, right before we shut down. And it's all right, everyone, wash your hands, don't sign baseballs, don't sign autographs. Fans were still there, but if we're going to sign them, we ended up starting every morning, they would put 50 baseballs in a box in the clubhouse. And each of us, so the rookies would sign 40 of them. And then a couple of big names would sign.
Right.
And they would go and throw them out to the fans. And that was kind of what we did. And then, funny thing was, the last game that was played before everything got killed or shut down, the Nats were playing the Yankees at our facility with 8,000 people. And there's a full stadium, everything. Everyone's before the game, they told us, hey, we're playing, but don't be surprised if as soon as it's done, you guys go home. And it's wow, what is going on? And then, we play that game, and by the seventh inning of that spring training game, it's coming out that spring training camps are being shut down. Players don't know what they're doing. So then we're there for 3 more days, and it basically said you're probably going to go home. We might keep this open, we might not. And then I ended up getting sent down to minor league camp, which meant immediately you're going home. So they told me on a Tuesday that I was getting sent down and to pack my stuff up. So I packed my stuff up and I walk across the hall to the minor league side, and it was and now you can go home. So it was really odd, but get home, and, they said at first, they were all right, take 2 weeks and just kind of play light catch with whoever you can. And then do a week of long toss, and then throw 2 weeks of bullpens, and we're going to be back. That was the time period, right. 6 weeks, you're coming back. And we're okay, sounds good. So we do that. And then it goes full quarantine mode. And I'm what am I going to do? No gyms, no nothing. Right. Luckily, Chad here at College of Charleston, he was letting us get on the field, and they had a bike, and he was letting us go out to the stadium. And I was doing dumbbell squats and dumbbell curls with tarp weights on the baseball field, picking up tarp weights and doing stuff, and doing as much as I could out there. And that's kind of what quarantine was for, 4 weeks. And then they kind of started opening stuff back up, and we're still playing catch every day and throwing 2 or 3 bullpens every week, just staying in shape, not knowing what's coming. And then, like you said, late July, or it was probably June 15th, they call or do the meeting, and they say, all right, we're playing a 60-game season, be here in 2 weeks. And it's okay, sounds good. You're coming to DC. And, yeah, it was hectic, but, it was good. It was good to be home. I got my first summer, in, I guess, since TJ, but before TJ, I didn't I've had 2 summers in, 15 years. And, my wife's family has a place in Murrells Inlet, and we went up there, and we were up there on the boat and hanging out and doing the beach stuff. And that was super nice. We had a great time doing that. But other than that, it was kind of hectic, and we were just trying to get by and stay away from the COVID and stay ready for the season.
Yeah, I remember the first week it came back, and I think, what is it, Jeff Passan? That's one of the big MLB guys. I remember watching ESPN, and that first week when the Marlins got it, and you're like, oh my God, here we go. This is we're about to be shut down before we even get going. I mean, I'll ask you again. And I think, was the roster expanded for this season? Like, they had more guys, right? Was that one of the reasons, like, you got which I guess that benefited a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys got their shot this year.
Yeah. So it went to 30. So it's usually 27. Next year it's going to be 28, but it went all the way to 30. So it kind of gave you that extra spot. But even with the Marlins situation, when you went on your like 2-week COVID list, kind of like football's doing, they can call up whoever they want, and you can call up prospects, you can get free agents, like you can do whatever you want. And, they give you that expansion. If you have 14 to 20, whatever players out, you can add 20 more players. You just got to know when it comes back to it, you're going to have to send some people down or let people go. So, it was crazy. We get into season that none of us thought we were going to play. And, I have a buddy down here who played at Clemson. His name's Dominic Leone. And that's who I throw with. And he was like, man, his agent was saying it's probably not going to happen. My agent was like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And then, 3 weeks before, it's like, all right, you need to gear up. If you ain't been going, you got to get going. It's go time. We really didn't think it was going to be something. And then the Marlins get it, and everyone's like, oh, and like, that was our division. We missed the last 2 weeks of the season. Really, one of my last start. Is that right? My last start. Yeah. Was against the Marlins because they had that COVID outbreak. We missed 3 games against them earlier in the season, and I got it. My last start was against them due to that. And, it's just crazy that it all happened that way. And, I was glad to get the season in. I didn't know if it would make it, but it's weird. It was a weird year. You go to the hotel, you can order food, but they have to drop it off at the front desk, and you can't come in contact with them. Like, the front desk would then bring it to your door, knock, and leave. Like, you had security guards on each floor. Like, if you went to the lobby at night to like get your food or go to get water at the front desk or something, the security guard's standing there waiting for it. He's marking your name down, like making sure who you are, like not leaving the hotel. Like, it was weird. It was very different, and like flights were they charter flights, but they're getting these huge planes instead of like compact ones, because every player or personnel, anybody who's on the plane has to have their own row. And it's like one person's in a window, one person's in an aisle. Like, they're trying to get us all spread out. And it was different, but it was a great experience. You still have the clubhouse that you get to be around the guys and have that team feeling. And it was nice to get that and be able to have a little bit of normalcy. Yeah. But it was definitely an odd year, that's for sure.
Well, and again, that 2020 season, let's move into the peak of it. You make your major league debut August 22nd, 2020. You started, again, ironically enough, against the Miami Marlins, the second game of a doubleheader. Again, maybe not quite how you drew it up, especially with the way the 2020 season was. But, I mean, just talk about that, man. I mean, getting to make your major league debut, get out there. I mean, you really reach the mountaintop. You know what I mean? The goal you've been fighting for your entire life. I mean, just walk me through, what was that like?
Yeah, it was a great day. They told me the night before. My wife was actually home, and I call her, and she's excited. She ended up driving back, and in DC there's a bar on the top of the hotel in left field, and she's sitting up there watching the game on the TV, which is like 30 seconds behind the PA system that she can hear. So like, she's like hearing stuff, wondering what's going on, and this.
Yeah, because I was going to say no fans, not even like family or anything.
Nothing. So, different stadiums had it like louder or quieter. Right. Like Park, they had a little bit of like white noise that kind of sounded like a little bit of fans. But like the Marlins Stadium, when we played there, it sounded like we were at a beach party. Like, it was like a million. Like, that day that I pitched the second game, I walked out during the first game to like just watch a little bit. And like, it was like blowing my eardrums out in the stadium. I'm like, oh, this is wild. And no one's there. You know, you got some reporters and that's it. And just some people who can take pictures. But it was an experience I won't forget. You know, I go out there, my heart's beating. I'm probably sweating more than usual. Felt like it was 1,000 degrees. But you know, it was awesome. Like you said, I everything I've been working for, you know, I made it, you know, and it was a great day. It was a lot of fun. Like you said, it wasn't the end result. You know, I don't think any of my starts were, but the experience of it, you know, getting my feet wet and getting the opportunity, and now just, you know, pushing me to fight for more. You know, I know I can compete at that level, and I know I'm ready to compete at that level. It's just now, just, you know, when that opportunity comes, let's just, you know, grab it by the horns and let's just run with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, what'd you learn from those starts? Because, again, there were some ups, there were some downs, whatever. Like I said, you got your feet wet. I mean, I'd imagine, though, just the emphasis, like you were saying, on attention to detail. I mean, these are the best hitters in the world. I mean, they're getting paid millions of dollars, too. You know what I mean? So, like, what'd you take away from it? I'm just curious.
I mean, my biggest thing was that it's the difference between them and a AAA hitter, technically, is everything's just a tad smaller. So like, they miss, it's a tad smaller miss, you know, they take, it's a tad smaller take, you know, everything's just confined a little bit, but they're the same, you know, the same pitches are going to get the same people out. Like, if I compete and I make my pitch, it doesn't matter. And I think I got a little passive, and I'll be the first one to say that. You know, I was trying to be too fine. And these guys at the big league level, like, if you're being fine and you're picking at corners and you're trying to, you know, you're trying to beat them around instead of in it, right, they take those pitches. And that's what I learned. And like, you know, even with, you know, Acuna, and when I faced the Braves, Acuna and those guys, you know, I give up, you know, a home run to like Austin Riley, and it's like a hanging slider, and he should have killed it. Well, then, you know, I strike out Acuna on a two-seam fastball that I threw chest high right down the middle, you know, and they're going to miss their pitches. They're going to miss, but they know, you know, like, if it's not there, they know. Right. And just about competing in the zone and just being there. You know, you can't nibble at this corner. You can't be like, all right, I'm going to throw this pitch in this spot and he's going to swing at it, but it's going to be a ball. It doesn't work like that. You know, they're going to sit on their pitches. They're going to fight, and they're going to use what they do to do what they do best. And you've got to, you know, beat them with your stuff. You know, they're not going to sit, and you're not going to throw a 58-foot curveball and they're looking for it and they're going to swing at it. It's not going to happen. You know, you get those funky swings by what you do in the pitches before, not by throwing this nasty pitch that they've never seen before.
Right, for sure. No, trusting your stuff, absolutely. I will say, I know we got a lot of Braves fans that listen to this. I think we're all excited for Atlanta, and they've got some studs for sure, especially arms-wise. Think of Bryce Wilson and Freed, and I mean, obviously the lineup. It's the Basher speaks for itself. What Ozuna did, just stupid. I mean, his year was just dumb. I want to ask you, though, again, you just got recently traded. Christmas Eve, you find out you're getting traded to the Pirates. So you're now officially a Pittsburgh Pirate. Like I said, I'm rocking the Pittsburgh gear, of course, repping for you, Will. Just talk about, again, we were talking a little bit off air, but that kind of that funny story. Again, Merry Christmas to you. You're headed to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was odd. We were thinking it might happen this year. You know, the Nats needed a big bat. You know, they needed to trade for somebody, and they weren't willing to give up, you know, their top 4 or 5 prospects that were a hitter and, you know, 3.
Who are you texting?
My therapist.
You text with your therapist?
Text, video chat, call. Yep.
That sounds too easy. How did you find her?
I just went to betterhelp.com/save. She's a licensed therapist, and it's all online. I connect when it's convenient for me and don't waste time driving anywhere. Plus, it's affordable.
I wonder if I should try it.
It's great to talk to someone in confidence. She's helped me sort out quite a few things. And right now, you save 10% off the first month when you go through betterhelp.com/save.
betterhelp.com/save. Got it.
Really, really good arms, and they just weren't one to do that, and that's what all the reports were. So we kind of thought it might happen, but you know, we thought it might happen last year and the year before. Right. So you know, I'm sitting there on my phone. I'm actually watching something on Twitch, which is funny, but watching something on Twitch, and I get a phone call, and I'm like, okay, this is from the Nats GM. I'm like, well, okay, I don't think he's calling me to just say hello. You know? So I answer, and that's what he said. He's like, "Hey, I would love this call just to be a Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a good holiday, but it's a business call." And he said, "We traded you to the Pirates. Basically, we appreciate what you've done. We can't tell you who it's for because it's not out yet.
Right.
But you're going to the Pirates, and we hope you have the best career and best of luck with all that. And if we ever, meet again, speak again, whatever, and hope you're coming back and whatever, And I said, thanks. I appreciate what you guys did for me. And, click the phone, call my agent. He's like, I didn't know that. And he's like to figure out. And, I tell my wife, she's like freaking out. We have a new puppy.
All right.
And I holler at her. I'm like, Hillary, come in here. And she's like, what's up? And I said, I just got traded. And she was like, no way. And I was like, yeah. It's like, yeah. So that day was like a whirlwind. That was at like 150, and by like 205, it's came out in the media and it's all over Twitter. And my phone's blowing up, and I'm just trying to, get in contact with the right people. And the Pirates GM called and was like, hey, we're super excited to have you. There's a lot of opportunity here, and we want you to win some innings, and we want you to be a part of our future. And we're stoked about having you, and we look forward to getting to work with you in spring. So he was like, it's the holidays. I'm going to let you go so you can be with your family. So that's how it kind of went. And ever since then, it's been, kind of a transition. I when I go to the gym, I wear all my Nats stuff, or not all of it. I usually wear like a Nats shirt, or like I wear a sweatshirt a lot, but that's what I work out in. I go over there and I have a sweatshirt on, and my Nats is under it. And I'm like, I don't even need this stuff anymore. Like I got to get black and yellow and all this stuff. But I just got a new pair of cleats that Nike sent me, and they're like all white, but they got this like gray sparkle, like metallic sparkle on them. Mm-hmm. But the top has like a gold sparkle. So I was like, hey, I can wear these. These are actually my colors. Like, I don't have to wear these red cleats anymore. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be a great opportunity. I've talked to the pitching coach, and I've talked to the manager, and I talked to all the medical guys yesterday, and they all seem really excited to meet me, and I'm excited to meet them. I know it's going to be a great opportunity for me. And we're looking forward to get going. I mean, it's a breath of fresh air that I'm on a team that, really wanted me. They gave up Josh Bell for me and the other prospect. And I know they wanted me to be a part of their, their build. And I'm excited about that. I'm ready to get going. It's going to be fun.
For sure, Will. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Last thing before I get you out of here, though, sticking specifically with the Gamecocks, you look back on your South Carolina career. Again, a lot of positives to take away. Favorite moment, favorite memory, maybe funniest story, maybe something like happened behind the scenes, on the field, off the field. I know you played with some characters, obviously, so I'm sure there's many stories you can't really tell on the airways. Because, like I said, I'm just thinking on the top of my head some of those dudes. And you mentioned Joey. That's a freaking clown right there, man. That is a clown. But no, some of your favorite memories from your time at the Gamecock.
Some of the best times at Carolina were not on the field. They were off the field with those guys. In the clubhouse. Playing cornhole and in the clubhouse. Having barbecues on Sundays with the guys. Those type of things. Really just forming into the family. And that's a big thing. Is like when a team's great, they're all together. When a team isn't very good, there's usually a bad apple or a rotten apple somewhere in there, and that's usually the way it goes. And I don't know. A lot about like my time there is when I got hurt, I kind of became like the team dad, and I had Hillary, and she was like the team mom, and Sawyer Bridges' dad, I actually talked to him a couple months ago at Ross Grosvenor's wedding. And he had told me the first time he'd ever seen my wife Hillary was Sawyer and him were walking in the parking lot, and he was like, yeah, that's the team mom, that's Will's girlfriend. So it's like we were known for that. So some of those times where I would invite guys over to our condo, and I would buy a UFC fight, or I would buy like a boxing match, or we would watch a football game, and we'd all have like our food, like cook bunch of bad food, and just hang out, and just like that time to just unravel, and just it wasn't about baseball or working out or school. It was about just being with friends and enjoying that time with each other. And those are some of the memories I'll never forget. Like football Saturdays, having tailgates at our condo right there. We were at Carolina Walk, so we were right across the street from the football stadium. So we always had those guys coming over, and that's the best times, is just being able to create those friendships that are lasting you a lifetime. And something I'll never forget, and I'll always cherish my time there.
For sure, Will. Been a pleasure, man. Like I said, obviously we'll be watching from afar. Best of luck in Pittsburgh. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we have a normal spring training, normal college season, normal pro season. We can get back to some sort of normalcy. I know for me, I think the last season, we were all gearing up for SEC play, and you find out Thursday it's gone, and you're just like, oh my God. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Normal season. Obviously, we'll be watching you and all of your former teammates from afar, because there's a ton of you guys right now doing great things in the league, and it's obviously awesome to see. But Will, appreciate you taking the time, man. Let's definitely do it again soon for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I had a blast, and hope for a normalcy very soon, man.
Absolutely. He's Will Crowe. I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the episode of the Spurs Up Show.